Season 2, Special Episode, The Capitol Hill Riots.
Hi, this is Jim,
And I'm Hisham, and this is...
the Quarantining Leaping Podcast.
Yes, we were hoping that Jim and I were discussing because we've done season 1, like a
Woo!
couple of weeks ago, and we thought about making a fun episode about the end of the season and all, and review the whole thing. We've done a special our last episode was a special episode about what we have done, and we want to do something about the fun stuff that happened with us. But unfortunately, January 6th, 2021 happened. Oh my God! I can tell you something. I missed 2020 already. Like 2021 looks like 2020 on steroids, or something like that.
That is a great explanation, Hisham. I have to give you that one. That is a great explanation.
I have no idea what's that. And one of the things that I have done about it is, like, I think you saw that TikTok. Like, the funny TikTok that I was calling and say, like, I had the 7-day trial of 2021. I'm not interested. I just want to unsubscribe from 2021.
I just saw it yesterday. I saw it yesterday.
Yeah, I don't want to be pessimist about it, but 7 days, only 7 days in 2021. I mean, like, we were having like a daily measure event in 2021. In 2020. In 2021, we have like 3 disastrous events per day. So I hope it's not gonna go this way for the whole year.
I hope not.
I hope it's gonna slow down. I hope now we've had a glimpse of light with the vaccines and all. I hope things are gonna get better. But wow, the first week of 2021. I mean, like, really? I just hope that 2021 is gonna it's gonna, I don't know what. It's gonna just change paths.
Sean, you sound like me. You sound like me. You sound like me. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, for a few nanoseconds in 2021, Hisham sounds exactly what Jim sounded like in 2020, but only for a few nanoseconds. So.
I mean, when he came into 2020, I was like, what a year. And 2021, I'm trying to be, until now, I'm trying to be optimist. I hope that the rest of the year is not going to be like the first week. I hope that this is when, in electricity, when something you switch down, that there's the discharging electrons, and they're so high sometimes because they were just the last thing that they do. I hope this is the discharging electrons of 2021, 22. So bottom line is, we're going to talk, this special episode is to talk about the Capitol Hill, because a lot of the episode that we've talked about are related to this one, and we're going to refer to them while we're talking about. I mean, it's important to us for you to go and listen or watch those episodes, not just because we like views, but we cannot sum up what we've talked about. Many of those episodes, I mean, like, we have like a 40 minute policy in our that we talk about these topics in only 40 minutes that we had. Some of those things jumped 50 because those topics were really, really tough to tackle down, and they are very relevant. So we cannot just squeeze all of those episodes into one, but we're going to refer to them and just connect, and we'll give you the links into this episode so that you can go and listen to those ones. So I'm going to start with you, Jim, because you have a funny story about how did you find out about what happened to the event.
Yes, so it is a short story. So I was on a work project. So got up, 7 a.m., had coffee, I know it's too much information, and I went to work. I was doing a project here in downtown Toronto. Worked the whole day. Yes, I was listening to the radio, but the radio stations I was listening to did not say anything what was happening, or I didn't hear it. I didn't hear. I can't remember. Did I hear anything? No. So around 5 o'clock, when I finished my project, I started coming back to the city. And the crossing guard, the crossing guard lady, because I've seen her, a lot. I passed by her. She goes, "Did you hear what happened in Washington?" I'm like, "No, no, I have not." "They attacked the Capitol building." I'm like, "What?" I went to Washington. I've been to Washington in 1985. So I know the buildings. I know that there's security there. Like, you can't walk. You got to go through security to get there. So I'm like, what's going on? I get back and I turn on the TV and my eyes cannot believe. So I was oblivious for the first time to an event. Like until the lady told me 5 o'clock, I had no idea what was going on. And for the next, 48 hours, ladies and gentlemen, I still cannot believe that it happened. So that's how I found out about it. And now for the last 4 days, it has been nonstop articles. In the major paper here in Toronto. Insurrection was the body type of the paper on Thursday morning, and it's been a whirlwind. So yeah, that's how I found out about it, and I'm still in shock. I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, like, I myself, I was also at work, and we've had another disaster at work. I'm not gonna, I don't want to bother our viewers with my own drama, but we were also having a drama at work, and then when I was done, like around 5 o'clock, I opened the internet and just I mean, like, I opened my phone because I get those news, and oh my God, the world was on fire. I mean, like, America was on fire, let's say, but the whole thing at that time, even every country in the world had already spoken about it. Every world leader was talking about it, and like, the whole world was on fire. Even Justin Trudeau, who's trying to always play it safe when it comes to the United States, he came on TV and he said something that I never thought he's gonna say about President Trump and how the administration handled this. So it was a crazy day. But let me just say something. I mean, like, I know America is not that, but it's not the first time in the American history. So when America says this is not who we are, okay, I can accept it. But this thing didn't happen for the first time. This reminds us maybe of the Wilmington insurrection in 1898, and that was in North Carolina, when the first multiracial government in North Carolina was elected. A group of white supremacists also rioted the government buildings, and it was a coup at the time. It was even worse than this one. I mean, you look at it, it's all of there on Wikipedia. Just search Wilmington insurrection of 1898. You will find it on the whole details. It's also, like, really terrifying details. But the thing about this one is that because the technology is here and everyone in that riot were stupidly videotaping themselves and putting them on social media. This is why we saw it also as big. But this is not the first time in the American history that something like this happens. So America, first of all, America, wake up. And I'm just gonna go a little bit through the events. So it all started at 11 a.m. when the pro-Trump supporters gathered close to the White House. The president himself was actually rallying them, and he gave that speech, a fury speech, at that. There was this rally called Save America, I think.
Yep.
I don't know, Save America, something like that.
Save America again. Save America again, or something.
Save America, something like that. But anyway, and at 11:50 p.m., 11:50 a.m. Those gatherers came at like 11 a.m. 11, and we're talking, of course, Eastern time, like Washington time. So those crowds gatherers, and I think at that time President Trump started to address them, and he was saying this, regardless of what you think of President Trump, but it's like something like "take our country back." These are like these expressions. It's like you are in war. It's like you're being occupied. take your country back from whom exactly? I mean, this is very infuriating, and he said this word literally. We're going to walk down the Capitol, and he promised that he's going to be with them there. Of course, it didn't happen, but that they were like immediate. Even before he finishes his speech, some of them started already rallying. Walking to the Capitol Hill, and they were going into two routes. There are two routes from the White House to the Capitol. They were going onto two routes, and at around 1:10 p.m. They were they were all around. They're covering the building at that time. So that was Save America rally that started from the. There was another rally near the Capitol, actually, there in the Capitol, near the Capitol, that was called Save the Republic rally. And that's when, after on 1:20 p.m., those two rallies merged. I think there was like 30,000 people of from all around America, not just from Washington. I mean, like from all around America, who came in to those two rallies. So there were two rallies, as just for people to understand. There was not one actually, and the infuriated people from Save America rally who just saw President Trump telling them take our country back and go to the Capitol, infuriated the Save the Republic rally. Actually, if you look at the videos, which I don't recommend, but if you can handle watching those videos, a lot of those rioters were calling and chanting that they want to kill and hang Mike Pence. They wanted to kill him and hang him in front. They wanted not just Mike Pence, but like when they say Mike Pence, who was the most loyalist to President Trump, they wanted to kill him. They wanted to kill Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and hang their bodies in the front. This is I know, I'm sorry, this is a very graphic, but this is what they were planning to do, and they were chanting. And what of their posts on social media, which we're going to talk about once we dive into the topics. Now, at that time, 2:25, the demonstrators go past the guards. They were too violent, and they would go past the guards. Those barricades in front of the Capitol Hill. If you have been ever to Washington D.C., the Capitol Hill is like a huge place, and they put when there's an event like that, they put barricades a little bit far from the building so that they will stop, looky-loos and the people who want to come and see or whatever, or some protesters from coming inside. But this time it was not protest. It was like a total different story. So at that time they broke in and they flooded in 10 minutes, like in 2:35, they were actually inside. They were just inside the building, and they reached the rotunda area. No one could stop them. They were like a sea of human beings, like I don't know. It's like a tsunami of them. Of course, at that time, in 10 minutes later, 2:45, they came into the statuary hall and started to invade the offices there. The first one is, like, I believe that was Nancy Pelosi's, and we saw that guy who was like sitting on the desk, and he put a threatening letter on that one. And that was only, and at 3 o'clock, the chamber of the Senate was taken over by the rioters. I mean, the chamber, if you also know, the chamber, there's a distance between the chamber and the rotunda, and the chamber is heavily secured. There's a lot of guards there, a lot of guards, but they could have done. And there was one horrible video of them trying to push, and there was one police officer who was crushed, and he was crying and bloody face and all, and they were crushing him between the security and police officers and the rioters, and it was like, it's a very distressful. So at 3:21 p.m., there was reports about a shooting. We later knew that a woman was shot, and one of the rioters, and she was actually a decorated veteran, in the United States Army. She served in I think in Afghanistan and Iraq and all of this thing, but she was shot and later died. So that was the first known victim that we know about. By the way, the final number of victims are 5 until now. One of them is also an officer who lost his life trying to protect the building. 353, there was reports about explosive devices found, which is, like, I don't know. This is very scary. And there's another reports after that about multiple devices were in a van. Someone brought in, like, I think it was 11 or 12 devices at that time. At that point, and like around 4 o'clock, it was totally chaos. It was totally chaotic inside that building. And then at some point at that time, the National Guards came in, and at 5:36, the officials said that it's now safe, and it was evacuated around 2 o'clock. So that they took all the officials into safe places because they were actually like as we said, they took the Senate place, but before they took it over, they just evacuated it and took the members of the Congress in a safe place, and they took Vice President Mike Pence into a roller different secured location from the back end. I mean, the Capitol Hill have a lot of secret, not secret, I mean, like back doors and back tunnels, so that they took him to a safe place. The problem is, for hours, the National Guard was not there, because the National Guard should get usually in these cases, should get the orders from the White House, from the president. They didn't get any of that. And they called, and they heard that Chuck Schumer and all others were calling the guard, and they told them, we don't have the clearance for hours. And they tell them, no, you have the clearance. You should come. And they tell them, we don't have the clearance, until Mike Pence at one time, which we don't know even if that's constitutional, by the way, called them himself, or that's what we've heard, and told the National Guard to come in. Otherwise, even the National Guard may not have been installed. I mean, like, see, I'm telling this to show how chaotic that was, and how there's a lot of gaps in the U.S. Constitution itself to protect the one of the most important buildings and processes in the history of the United States. So this all folds out. It was so quick. The Capitol building was taken for about 4 hours, totally out of control. And then when the National Guards came in, of course, National Guards, heavy arms, whatever, they took it back. But by that time, many of the rioters went out and practically went out into their lives, just as before, And now we're hearing about a lot of arrests and all of these things, but they left. The point is, they left. Many of them who have done those horrifying things, they left out unharmed. So that's just I just wanted to give the people who didn't know about it, or because there was a lot of reports outside. But so that being said, let's dive in to our main topics about that. So now we know how this thing started, but what I want to say is how the event folded, not from the timeline point of view, but how did it start? Because we've been seeing those things on social media, those posts and the events on Facebook and a lot of other social and there's some of them were even on the dark web, by the way. So that's how thing. And the thing that boggles my mind is how this thing was actually supported and infuriated by a sitting president. So since I talked a lot too much, and Jim, I want to hear what you think about it, because you were the one when we talked about the U.S. elections. You were the one who predicted that he's gonna lose. And you remember when I told you that, it's like, I'm not afraid of Trump. I'm afraid of his supporters.
Yes.
You remember that one? So I want to tell us what do you think about that?
first of all, thanks for the timeline. I think it's important to understand the context of what happened. And I think Hisham is very, very close, like 99%. The only thing I'd like to add, ladies and gentlemen, before I answer that question, is at that time, the Congress was sitting together to ratify the presidential election. So they were counting the electoral votes. That's what they're doing that day. So overarching of what happened, they were there already. The Congress was there January 6th, counting the electoral votes and certifying them. A bunch of Republicans, about 150 of them, whatever, had protested. So they were going through the process. So that's why there was people there in the Congress that day. So hope now that adds how bad everything was, because all the senators were there. Now, yes, we made an episode on November the 6th, the 3rd.
November 3rd.
November 3rd, the day of the elections. And I was like, okay, we're gonna do a podcast on the day of the election, and let me tell you, I wasn't exactly excited, but I figured it was important because it was an important historical event. Not that I know that 2 months later, that whatever prediction I thought I made or would happen. So. You know, we covered, I want to reiterate something. So we covered a lot of events. So we did mental health. We did an episode on mental health. Watch it. We got very personal about that topic. So please run. We covered misinformation. We covered misinformation. We covered, what else did we cover? There was another one. We covered.
We also you said U.S. elections, misinformation, and
mental
of course,
health. Mental health. Yeah. So
since you brought that, sorry,
yes.
but since you brought that, because I at this very point, I want this very topic, I want to concentrate also on the mental state of those rioters. They came in and they're thinking that they are patriots, and they're thinking that, and they were fully faced. I mean, like, how stupid should you be to go? The Capitol is one of the most secured buildings. Everything there's cameras everywhere. Even you have the IBS so that you will get a mobile signal everywhere, even the underground tunnels or whatever it is. So they could actually track them on their phone. How stupid they were believing that they're doing that. That is those. I don't think they were in the right mental state. They were just blinded by anger. Or I don't know. What do you think about it? It's like
I think that they really felt that they didn't care. Like they didn't cover their faces. They were dressed up, and they walked in. And then when they did get in, they were like taking selfies. They were taking police officers.
One of them was having his work badge, by the way.
Oh yeah.
So it was having his information on it.
Yeah, everything. So there's pictures. I'm not as detailed as Hisham as far as security, but there's lots of cameras. Let's just state it. There was lots of cameras everywhere in there. I've been there. I know. I've seen them. There's cameras everywhere. So, and plus many things we don't know. It doesn't matter. So, they go in. A guy sits on Nancy Pelosi's desk. They go to the office. They ransack the offices, ladies and gentlemen. You see the sights. Like I said, I've been there. I know it was a long time ago, but still, I walked through those hallways. I remember. It's a sacred place, and these people felt they had the right. I'm sorry. Yes, maybe it is legal, but it's not what they thought it was at that time. This president incited this, okay? I'm sorry, I found a newspaper. He incited, an insurrection. He did this. And this is no fun and games. Twitter, I don't know if we're going to get into that, but, finally things happened, Hisham. The thing I want to do this is finally people stood up and did something. And I don't know if we can cover Twitter in this or maybe later on. I guess that's a third one, so I'll wait. But at the end of the day, this is not right. This is not right, and I was very bothered by it. And I'm still bothered by it.
Yeah, so. And here's the thing: like those people were flooding in. Even I'm talking even about some police officers who allowed them. I mean, Most
Yes.
of the most police officers were trying, and
Yes.
one of them lost his life.
Yes.
I don't want to say, but
Yes.
a
Yeah.
group of police officers, we saw that, allowed them in. I mean, what the hell were they thinking?
Yeah.
And some of them were taking selfies with those.
Yeah.
And it's like, are those police officers also in their mind? It doesn't matter what your political opinion is. You are
Yeah.
hired to do that job, but they did. And here's one thing. I mean, like, I know this is not, maybe that's not a really funny episode, but here's one fun thing. Everybody saw the guy who was holding that thing from Pelosi's office,
Lectern. The lectern. The lectern.
uh the podium.
The podium. Podium.
Yeah,
Lectern.
the
Yeah.
podium from Pelosi's office, which is actually is it ridiculous because it doesn't belong to Nancy Pelosi. It belongs to the government. So if a Republican speaker came in, they will. I mean, like 2 years ago, it belonged to a Republican Speaker of the House, right? I mean, like, I don't know the thing, but here's the thing: he actually put it on eBay to sell it,
Yeah. Oh my
he
God.
was put it all on one, and he didn't even put it on. Oh my God! Like, those people have something wrong mentally, and that raises to me, it's not just that they're screwed up in their heads by joining a very radical group or whatever. Some of them are not in any group. Some of them are just like totally, and it's not just that they are. We didn't see them like they're poor or they are non-educated. Many of them are very highly educated, and they flew in from other states, so they're not that poor, you know. And this is what makes me like, you have to be really mentally disturbed to do something, to fly thousands of miles from anywhere to Washington D.C. and go riot and put yourself on this. And what also bothered me is that there's a lawmaker from North Carolina, Derek Evans, his name is. I mean, that guy, he even videotaped himself, and he was saying, put it on Twitter, and he said, Derek Evans is in the Capitol Hill. Like, do you think they're in the right mind? I mean, I don't think so, right?
No. No, they're not in their right minds, and this is again, this is what's happened to our country in 4 years, and um, this. I know you said fun about the podium on eBay, but at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, you know, we us as humans, humanity, we have to. Yes, we have our differences. We maybe don't like we have a vaccine going on here, and people are not getting vaccinated. I have family members who I desperately want to get them to get the vaccine. When? I don't know. Now that's a concern for me. We have things going on here with coronavirus here in Toronto, ladies and gentlemen. That's a concern for me. But what I saw there was something that just. Well, I've been to the states. I have been to Washington. I've been all over the states. This is not who they are, but this event is going to define who they are for all the wrong reasons. And part of the reason that, one second, part of the reasons I want to tell this is we don't have to, this podcast is to deal with issues, ladies and gentlemen. This is an issue, and I think we have the right to say. Now, it's hard, but this is unacceptable, period.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I want to throw it back to you. That's all I want to say.
yeah. And as I told you, I think this is part of who America is, and this is the part that they should get rid of. And by that, let's close on this topic and run to the other topic, because we have to cover the other thing.
Okay.
And the other topic is that we could talk about is the U.S. elections. We have done a total episode about that, and I'm not going to talk about this elections only. The thing about the U.S. elections is, why is it like a sacred process in any part of the world, not just in the U.S., but let's talk now about the U.S., because this is the way that, as a civilized country or a civilized nation, protests. I don't like what the policies are, so I'm going to go to the ballot box, and I'm just going to try to change things, right? By electing someone who represents me, represents my votes, and I'm going to go and take it. What happened here is like people were, because as you said, and as everybody knows, this whole thing started because of the election results. This is not how we change the election results in a democratic society, in a civilized nation. I'm just putting in quotes because the word civilized now is not, it does not apply to a lot of that what happened. But a civilized nation, you don't like what is going on in politics, you can voice your thing during that administration, and next administration you voice it in or next elections. It doesn't matter, Senate elections, government, Senate, state government election. You have that. This is your power to go and vote and tell them, I don't like what, even if you voted for those people. I mean, like, there's a lot of Trump voters who voted for him in 2016 who totally changed their mind and voted Biden, even if they're Republicans. They don't much like Biden, maybe, but they said, like, we didn't like what you have done in during these 4 years, so we're voicing our objection. But this is like a coup. This is, and for the first time, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, in a long time, a lot of officials in specifically not in politics, but like in FBI and all, are saying that these actions are actions of domestic terrorism. You remember we talked about that, and that a lot of in our episode of social media and all. But and we said that too much in America, when domestic terror happens, they shy away from saying that, right? But back to the election, we talked about that, and the U.S. election. So what happened? Like, why suddenly this happens in dictatorships and in authoritarian regimes? But is America going that route, Jim? What do you think?
Well, no, it isn't. I think that the fabric of the United States and this election has definitely changed. And I don't know what the right answer is, but people voted, and Joe Biden won by 7 million whatever votes. He won the electoral
Fair and
vote,
square.
and he won the popular vote. He won. When we go out, when I used to go out and play hockey and we'd lose the game, we lost the game. We go and shake hands. Okay, I know I'm going off topic here, but this means something. But we wouldn't go to the convener and go, we lost, but we don't want those 3 goals to count, and we're the winners. Like, this is what I was thinking in a sports mind. Like, I played ball hockey, pickup, we lose. We lose 3 games in a row. Okay, we went, we're done. We don't go back and say, guys, we're replaying all 3 games because we don't like the goals. This is the mentality. And this election was contagious, but very combative and divisive. My apologies, divisive. But the people went and voted. That was a democratic right. And they voted. They held, I don't know if I talked to Georgia, they voted in Georgia. And 2 Democratic contenders won. Warnock and Ossoff.
Also, yeah.
Won. So, okay, I'm sorry if I'm jumping ahead, but they won. And now they're even. This is what happens. People voted. So, throw it back to you.
No, I understand what you're saying, and like, I know that your example of ball hockey or whatever it is might not be it, but to me it is relevant, because democracy is a culture. It is not a political system. It is a culture. Democracy starts from families, from workplace, from, as you said, friends who are like, okay. So I take it even on sometimes we were having a lot of friends like, oh, some of them like to go to Starbucks. Some of them, oh, we don't like Starbucks. We like to go to Tim Hortons. And then we say, like, okay, so let's see who are the biggest who want to go to Starbucks or something like that. And there was once that they were like half of us wanted to go to Starbucks, half of Tim Hortons, and then tell them, you know what? Let's go to what do you call the first cup or something.
Second cup.
Second cup. Sorry, it's first cup. Second cup. And since then, by the way, there was a group that we work on as volunteers in the UFT, at the time. And since then, we were always going to second cup. Even we didn't vote after. Let's not go with second cup. It's a neutral place. Not this, not that. But this is what I'm saying.
That's a good story.
This is
huh?
This is what
Sorry,
I'm saying.
that was a good story.
Yeah, but this is what I'm
Well,
saying.
I thought my ball hockey story was good, but that's even better. Okay.
No, but it is the same thing. It's the same thing. Your ball hockey story is about accepting the results that were judged by someone. Like if someone has
we lost the game. We didn't contest the game. We lost. We lost.
Exactly. And if you've done something foul, let's say in the game, you will that goal will not be counted, right?
Right.
Because it's foul. And
that happens occasionally, yes.
Exactly. And they tried. They raised all of those cases in federal courts and all. And Georgia has recounted like 3 times.
3 times.
Or 2 times. There was the first count and then the other 2 counts. And they recounted twice for that matter. First of all, recounting takes a lot. This recount was not paid by the president. It was paid by the taxpayers' money, which costs a lot, by the way, more than people think. But I mean, I think it's at least $8 million for every recount, something like that. So, and that's taxpayers' money. But because of the whole thing, and then I think the only 2 votes that were from dead people were like 2 votes from dead people, and they went to Trump. Actually, it was not even. They said that a lot of dead people voted Joe Biden. There were only 2, and the votes were to Trump. So, where is that, ball hockey spirit comes into the election, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, John, ladies and gentlemen. Ball hockey is the only example I can think of. Sometimes maybe my example is not the best.
Yeah, but it's again, as I said, it's not just about the political system, because the politics comes from people and from the lives of the people, right? How democracy didn't start from the top. It starts from the bottom. It's a culture. Again, you lost, you should accept. It doesn't matter. What did you lost or what did you win? You lost, you accept that, right?
Yes.
And it was a fair election. I mean, I know that Democrats have done a lot of drama around 2016 election. And by the way, there's a lot. Even the FBI said that there was a lot of foreign interference with the 2016. But at the end of the day, Hillary Clinton, which I really don't like, but what I do respect, that even before the election results came in, when she felt that she's lost, she conceded at the same night.
Yeah.
That's what happened. That's what happened. You wanted Hillary Clinton to win, and you were so depressed at the time. Remember that?
Where's the book? I don't know where the book is.
Oh no, please.
Hold on. Should I find it? So I read. Oh, did I disappear? I read a book, What Happened, and I showed Hisham. Actually came across it in a book library, thick book, and I read it, and I did a whole report, and I called Hisham, and he rolled his eyes, and blah blah blah. So that's the story.
I rolled my eyes to that book way before you showed it to
I
me.
I have it here somewhere, but
I know, but I even tweeted about it. I mean, I don't like Hillary Clinton, but she should have. I mean, I don't know, how should she look?
What if they should interview her? I honestly, sorry to get a little political on you here, but what if they interviewed her to find out what her thoughts would happen on Wednesday? I didn't hear. Maybe she doesn't.
I don't want to watch this interview, but I'm sure she is. I mean, I don't know. Nobody feels happy of what is happening. No one feels happy. I mean, including myself, which I expected all of that and I predicted it. But I think she's saying she's gonna give them the I told you so. I told you so face.
I told you so.
Oh, all right. So
number 3,
our
last topic.
Jumping to our last topic.
Oh boy,
and
this may take a while. Okay, let's do this.
Yeah, but no, I don't want to take a lot of time on this. Just focus on what's happening, because if you want to know about what we think and what we talk about go to our episode about social platforms, responsibility and misinformation. We cannot squeeze. That was long. That was like 50 minutes, I believe. One of our long episodes.
Yeah, that was a good episode. That was a good episode.
Yeah, but we cannot squish
No. Watch that.
Let's talk about what happened here.
Okay, let me start. So
Okay.
Let me see if I can do this. Okay, pressure. Okay, so what happened was something really good happened. Now, if we're gonna get hate,
And before there's something good, I want to start from the beginning, if I might, because
okay, go ahead. Go
this
ahead.
whole event was organized over social media.
Yes.
Like there was a Facebook group onto
Yes.
on that, and even though social media are trying to do a lot nowadays, but that group was there. The event was there on Facebook, and there are other social media. Twitter has also removed a lot of that, but there's also social media right now, like Parlor.
Parlor, yeah.
You know, Parlor does not have any restrictions on anything. You know, there were tweets that I saw where people say, and they were not removed, by the way, or at least not removed, you know, like at the time they should be, that people saying bring guns to that event, or very very bad stuff on that. So all of that started on social media. I mean, social media is not responsible for what the people has done. We're not
Right.
saying that, but those things started over social media and
Yes.
infuriated. Let's not forget that President Trump himself infuriated all of that through Twitter. I know that he's not off, which I'm going to let you, you know.
Well, finally, the social media giants had enough, and within 24 hours, ladies and gentlemen, Trump was suspended for 12 hours on Twitter. And I posted. I'll tell you something. I posted it on Twitter, on my Facebook, that this happened. And let me tell you something. I don't post political things on my Facebook. Ask Hisham. I never do. I went finally, and I wanted to see what's going to happen. Nothing major happened. A
You
few
took the
people.
screenshot that I sent you.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so that's a copyright infringement.
Okay. All right. We're having fun here. So I typed finally, and I pressed send, and then I waited, and I said, will I get any direct messages? Will I get any hate? Actually, it didn't happen, but I did get some messages from people that I actually do know, making some comments. I left the comments there, and there were nothing serious, but I got a few people commenting. Not many, but few. And they took them down. Then Facebook, Instagram, and who else took action?
Twitter.
Twitter took action.
Yeah.
And for once, I was like, finally. In a sense, this has been going on for 4 years. Twitter has been afraid. They've censored him. They've censored. Wrong word. They've posted.
Well, okay, so they're just to go to the technical. Some of them were flagged.
Sorry.
Flagged but for misinformation.
Yeah.
And after that, recently, like a few weeks ago, they started to remove
Okay.
those posts.
So
some of them, and then before suspension.
So this suspension, I think, was finally well needed. I know people are not gonna like what I'm saying, but they finally needed to just stop. This thing had so many far-reaching effects all over the world, and I finally think even some Republicans finally had enough. And they went after, like, what's his name, was going through the airport. What's his name? Lindsey Graham was going through the airport with a security detail because he was being hounded, okay, by people. This turned. So finally, Facebook and Twitter finally did what they had to do, which they should have done long ago. And now he's off. I think is he back on Twitter now? I don't. Is Trump back on Twitter, or is he?
They banned him. They banned him. At first it was 12 hours, then he came back and done two tweets that violate their thing, and then they spot. Actually, the whole article, we can share it also with the description.
Okay.
The whole article about of why Twitter banned him for life is there on Twitter, and we can share the link.
Okay. So, and now he went on another website called Parlor. It's a far right thing. I did some research and I stopped.
Private account on Parlor, so it's not a public,
Okay.
So if you need to request him to approve you, so that he can so that you can see his I don't know, tweet Parley.
I didn't know what Parlor was. I heard about it. I did a little research and I said, that's it. Stop, delete, end the thing. So. Social media. I've been teaching social media, learning about social media. I've read a lot of books. I'm well done about that. Weapons of mass destruction. One of my Oh, weapons of mass destruction. Okay, I have
Yeah.
that one nearby. So read that book.
And there's
That'll
your
get you.
upcoming book, Like War.
Oh yeah. Oh. Yeah. So now a friend of mine. I was talking to a friend of mine today, a mutual friend of ours. So, I won't mention his name. And he goes, "What books are you reading next?" And I go, "Do you really want to know?" He goes, "Why?" So I told him, "Okay, I've ordered them on the library." I'm like, "Oh, now I'm starting a little book posse. This is not good." He goes, "Why? It's a free." He says to me, "It's a free world, Jim. You shouldn't be afraid to tell me what book you're reading." I'm not afraid. But when he saw the covers, because I told him you got to see the cover, and he goes, okay. So listen, it's a free world, and listen, I like to read cool books, anyways. But the point is, this finally had to happen, and this will shake. I'll make a prediction. This is going to shake the entire social fabric of not just the internet, but of everything. Think about the books being written about this now. Like people are going to be writing books on this day. And I was telling Hashem that, man, I knew where I was when 9/11 happened. I remember where I was when 9/11 happened. Literally, I remember where I was. This is the same thing. Where were you when January 6th? I go, I was at work. I'm totally oblivious. Like this is now etched in my mind. I remember like the whole day. Like I've made a note what happened the whole day, just for reminiscing purposes. But this had to happen. So watch our episodes, ladies and gentlemen. Misinformation, mental health. Uh, what else do we do? The U.S. elections. You'll see. We talked about this, and I know we've probably gone over, but I don't know what to say. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering at this point, what would they call it? They would call this day like 6/1? Because 9/11, so it
Yeah,
was like they
yeah.
call it 9/11. What would they call this? A
I
6
don't,
one
I
or
don't
one
know.
six? Sorry,
One
1/6,
six six
one
one
six.
six 21.
But 9/11 they didn't say it's the year, but so it's 1/6. It doesn't sound catchy. 9/11
Uh,
sounds a little bit
yeah,
catchy. All right,
catchy. Yeah.
whatever.
Sorry,
But
sorry for
but
people 9/11. No, I'm
now
sorry.
of
I'm not.
course I know it's not fun. But
It's not fun.
my point is how many days in the United States are so disastrous, like 9/11. At least 9/11 it was a foreign threat that someone, well, at least what do you know that it is is saying that this is
Well,
your enemy
and just
has
had an
that.
update. Just had an update. People are being arrested. Just to give an update, since we're going over, people are being arrested in Florida. That 50. I don't know how many people. 35 people arrested so far. Okay, so they are being arrested, and they are brought to justice. The gentleman with the lectern, he's been arrested. So they are being arrested made. Sorry, I just want to say that
Yeah,
the
but
authorities did act. They did act.
this is
Okay.
but this is the thing, like when you're because we're talking about, so for example, 9/11, you're fighting an enemy, an
Yeah.
outsider enemy, but now you're fighting
Meaning
an
inside.
inside enemy, which
Inside.
is way too much. And a lot of people were saying that, still saying, I hope it's not going to happen, but I'm still saying that it might be a start of a civil war. Because, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, it didn't stop here. There's a lot of other events that are being organized, and Facebook and Twitter are still removing and all of this thing. But again, there's a lot of like Parler or Gab.com or whatever. There's an event on 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, and the 21st, I think. So all of that. I mean, like, okay, Trump is not no more on Twitter, but as I said in the election, Trump is the least of my problems of fear. What I fear is the followers, or those angry followers of him who are gonna go and do that. They're not gonna stop. That was the message that this guy who went to the Nancy Pelosi and he wrote it down on one of her files. We will not back down. And I don't think it was just a word. They meant it. And this is what I'm saying. I hope that I'll be wrong. I really hope that I'm going to be totally wrong in that. And I hope that U.S. is not going to go down the road of civil war or whatever, or at
Well,
least
I
a
hope
political unrest.
you know. I'll tell you something. I hope not either, Hisham. But what I saw that day, and what I continue to hear is very scary. And the next 2 weeks are going to be, I don't know what we're going to use, because challenging, contentious,
say the least.
And how much is written. I mean, you can't escape it now. Like, now I wish I had more work projects to do. Like, I do have some work to do, so that's good. But yeah, I created work for myself, but that's a whole other podcast. But at the end of the day, I'm glad we did this for more of the reason that we're allowed to share, what's happening. And the part of the quantum leaping name is the fact that things are happening at a nanosecond. And this is what our name of the podcast. So please check our season 1 podcasts on these topics. They're informative, they're insightful, they're meaningful, and you'll see context to what Hisham and I, what we do, why we do this. So please watch it. And that's it for me, because we've gone way over our time here.
Well, I mean, like a little bit. We're a little bit over, not too much, but I think it's important because this event is not just in America, and for our Canadian audience, which is the biggest for us because we're from Canada. I mean, like, the reason we're talking about that is not because we want to criticize the United States, but we're too close, and we're not doing much better. By the way, there's a lot of white supremacy groups here in Canada, neo-Nazis, and let me just remind everybody that Proud Boys, which is one of the, by the way, just also breaking news for that, when you watch it, Canada is now studying to enlist Proud Boys as a terrorist group. So
wow. I didn't hear that one. Yeah,
that's just today. Today is January 10th, Sunday, and the time is 4:44. Just so you know that a few hours ago I just heard about that.
I came across one more thing. I came across this book recently, and it says, can you see it?
Maybe you should put it on.
Oh, so it says, Your Country, My Country. So it's called Your Country, My Country by Robert Bothwell. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to read it because we're so close. We share the largest undefended barrier.
Undefended, but it's like an open border in much of it, because there's no wall.
Yeah.
Says,
so
maybe we will ask Mexico to build the wall for us.
Yeah.
Or to pay for the wall.
Yeah. So we share that. I have friends in the States. Okay, I have cousins. Like.
Yeah, everybody.
I don't know how to end this. Like, I have friends. I have family. I've been to the States. So this is not far. This is not a far thing. So I felt that's why I really want to do this. And I because Hashem talked about what we're going to, discuss this podcast. And, for the most part, listen, we went down the rabbit hole last year. I told them we went down the rabbit hole and we came back up and let's go. Like, and I think it's important. So I appreciate everyone listening to this season two podcast. And I think I've said enough. So I'll throw it back to you, and you can tie the bow together.
Just a little bit more about, because we're talking about the Proud Boys and how Canada is gonna list them hopefully soon as a terrorist group. I just want to remember our Canadian viewers that one of the co-founders of Proud Boys is Gavin McInnes, a Canadian from Ottawa. He was also a co-founder of Vice News, if you know Vice News, which is Canadian, but it's in the United States. Gavin McInnes is now resides in America permanently, so he's not into Canada, but he found maybe a better platform. I'm not saying that we're doing a lot better, but he found a better platform for his very far right thoughts. But the fact that Proud Boys was co-founded by a Canadian says a lot, right? And if anything, I hope that our Canadian listeners and viewers, also all around the world, because this is happening all around the world, but I cannot talk about the other side. I don't live there, but at least in Canada, I hope this episode is going to be an eye-opening that we're not immune to that stuff. We're actually into it, really into it, and we should take care. We should prioritize country over party, over politics, or over our own politic views. At least we should prioritize that, and we should love each other. We are all humans. The only differences between us is like 0.1% genetically speaking, or something like that. So we're all the same. And I hope that what happened in the United States is not going to replicate itself here, because or anywhere, anywhere in the world, because this is the stuff we see in authoritarian regimes, in countries that has like dictatorships or whatever. We don't want to see that anywhere in the world. So with this, I hope everyone to be safe. It's a pandemic as well. And I, by the way, I don't think the pandemic helped into this one, because a lot of those people maybe were infuriated by the misinformation about the pandemic and politicizing this pandemic, the ones who rioted. So that's from me. Keep safe. Take care of yourself and each other's. Jim, do you have the last word to say?
Yeah. Last thing is they did certify the election results. Sorry to mention it earlier. So Congress reconvened at 8 p.m. that night. They didn't finish till 3:30 in the morning, if I got my timestamp correct.
Yeah.
And they certified the election votes. A number of Republicans did switch over, and I want to give credit that they came to their senses. So they did. So one thing I want to just put the bow on, they did certify the results. So January 20th, Mr. Biden and Kamala Harris will be sworn in. So with that, wow, what a session, Yasham. So look forward to, stay tuned to more amazing insights in season 2 of Quantum Leaping Podcast. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, and have a good day. Take care.